Friends, I have to laugh because for someone who's not a huge cat person, specifically because of allergies, I do tend to read quite a bit of cat manga, and I totally blame my 4-year-old because she has influenced me, and today's manga is definitely influenced by her. Hello friends, happy Friday. I am so very excited you're here. This is going to be such a fun video because I'm going to be making coffee for the very first time ever. Yes, oh my goodness, and you guys are going to join me because I was sent some coffee concentrate by a company called Javi, and they are so amazing. They have been so kind, so patient, and I am thrilled to be making it with you guys because the manga I am going to be talking about today is I Am a Cat Barista, and it is a 2-volume series. I just read it yesterday. Absolutely love this. This spoke to my heart on such a deep, deep level, and I never expected that I would love it as much as I did. I was like, I'm gonna pick up this manga because I want to be able to share a review about Javi and make this coffee with a, not necessarily a cat themed manga, I almost said that, with a food themed manga, and I don't know how I came across this, but I saw it and I was like, I want to try it, and then I found out it was a 2-volume series, and I'm like, well, have to get the second volume as well because it's only 2 volumes, and it really, really blew me away. But before I talk about this manga and tell you what it's about, we're actually gonna go step in my kitchen and we're gonna go make some coffee. Well, actually, my very first coffee, but I'm also making a latte, and I'm very, very excited. So let's go in my kitchen and go make some coffee. I'm a little nervous that I was over eager in choosing a latte, but let me tell you about Javi before I tell you why I chose this recipe. Javi is a company that makes coffee concentrate, with their goal being they want to make it extremely convenient for the customer to be able to make coffee where it's not super messy, they can make it really quickly, and also that it's just healthy. I feel like this is a great company that actually had me very interested because even though I'm not a huge coffee drinker, mainly because I don't know how to make my own coffee, and when I go to coffee places, I'm so intimidated by all the different choices that I'm like, I don't even know what to order, so I just leave. So this is really exciting. Plus they're gluten-free, dairy-free. I decided today to try to make brown sugar oat milk latte. I didn't have the exact ingredients that the recipe called for, but I felt this was one of the simpler ones and easier ones for me to do. And what was so great that also had me really interested in this company is that they have a whole bunch, a list of recipes. I mean, we're talking they have healthy choices, they have keto options, they even have a few actual like recipes for food. Like I saw quite a few for waffles. You could do hot coffee or cold coffee. And I just was like, wow, there's so many options. So I feel like it's a great source for people like me who are like, I have no idea where to start. This is deeply intimidating. Or like the coffee pro expert, they're like, I know exactly what I want and I want to try and capture maybe some of these more complex recipes. They have all that and more, and it's really easy to navigate on their website, and they have pictures for everything, which was really helpful in just seeing these pictures and not just this complex or easy recipe, which I deeply appreciated. Now, I did not have any oat milk when I tried this, and I didn't even realize that the recipe technically called for caramel coffee concentrate and not just regular coffee concentrate, but I was like, whatever, we're gonna go with it because it still sounded good, and I know that making this has smelt really good as well and leaves me excited to try it and see how it's gonna taste. This has definitely been a much more easier experience than I expected. It's been very fast. You're just sort of waiting for everything to come together, and I think maybe the hardest part was just having to shake the concentrate and the syrup and such in with the ice cubes for 1 to 2 minutes. That took some, like, vigorously shake it. So that took some arm strength to do that. But everything else has been really simple to make, and it's been really fun doing this and just very, very excited. So let's go ahead and see how this tastes. Alright guys, I have my latte and I'm really excited. I only sort of licked the straw to see how it tastes. I have not done an official first sip. So here we go of my first latte in my whole entire life. Here we go. Oh man, that is really, really good. I have not had coffee in years, but this is so good. I love the cinnamon flavor that's to it. Oh man, that is delicious. I am so glad I made this, and like I said, it was much easier than I anticipated, and it tastes really good. I will definitely be drinking more of this later after this video review because that was really delicious. So if you are interested in trying out Javi, I'm gonna leave a link down below. I also have a discount code that you can use, so definitely check that out. Very good, highly recommend. Definitely wanting to try more of their recipes because this was delicious, and I felt so cool knowing, yo, I just made some homemade coffee at home. It was awesome. It was so cool. And it wasn't like ridiculously priced because, you know, if I went to like Starbucks or something, I know I'd be charged quite the hefty penny. Now that I have some coffee in me, let's go ahead and talk about I Am a Cat Barista. I loved this series. But in case if you're not familiar with it, it's again a very short series, but it's about this cat here. His name is Hachi and he runs the cafe Hachiware, I believe is the name of this. Really, this is a slice of life manga where people can only find this cafe that are the weariest of souls. So when they are extremely weary and they're walking down the street, they see this cafe and they're all like, I didn't know this cafe was here, but they're feeling really downcast and they're like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and enter. And when they come into this cafe, they are greeted by Hachi, who is this amazing cat. He doesn't have any menus or anything, and they're like, okay, well, how do you know what I want? And he's like, I just make it based off of what I think that you need. And so he makes it, and if the person doesn't like it, they'll get their money back. But every time, it never fails, the customer always is given exactly what they need, and they're like, wow, this is exactly what I needed. And so that is the story of these different customers who come into this cafe. I was about to say hearing their problems, but I feel like it sounds sort of negative, but I guess hearing their problems and seeing their struggles, there we go, seeing their struggles in their life, because what was so great, I feel like any reader could relate to any customer in this story because there's so many different people from all walks and ages of life. Like one chapter, there's one about an elementary teacher, there's one that's about an office worker, there's one about a young kid, there's one that's about an older woman that comes in, and each person I feel like spoke to me on some level, but I deeply loved the office worker. The day that I actually read this, when I first started it, I personally felt very weary. Like I just was having a really hard day, and it's just my daughter was feeling sick again, and I was just like, I don't know if I can do this. But I really was like, I need to get this video up here soon, so like I'm gonna go ahead and start this first chapter. When I started this, by the end of the first chapter, I had tears in my eyes because I honestly felt like Hachi spoke to my weary heart. I felt so encouraged by this first chapter, and I left it because I was only able to read the first chapter, then I had to go make some lunch, and I just felt so encouraged. I felt uplifted, and there is just something so powerful, even if it's just to another fictional character. When Hachi tells this office worker, thank you for your hard work, I just was like, wow. I needed to hear that for myself, and I feel like that theme only continues as we meet different customers. I really, with each chapter, I feel like just so uplifted, and I could relate to some more than others. Like there is one that's about an otaku who's hiding her very inner hardcore otaku. I could not relate to that one as much, but there's stories like that that just, again, just spoke to my heart. And Hachi, he is a great character, okay? He is absolutely amazing. I loved him so much. He's so wonderful. He's so kind. He knows exactly what to say. He asks questions to get to know these customers, and when they come in, again, he just encourages them and lifts them up, and I was just like, wow. I did not expect that coming into this manga because I feel like with cat theme manga, a very common trend for them to be very humorous, and I did not feel that this was a humorous cat manga story. Yes, it's definitely fluffy, and I had a huge serotonin boost, but not because it was funny, like say like with Wonder Cat Q-chan or The Masterful Cat is Depressed Again Today. In fact, I feel like in this first volume, probably the most humorous chapter was the bonus chapter. The other chapters have very soulful vibes, so I think if you're looking for a very soulful story that can encourage you and lift you up, even if like these are just fictional characters, I think this is a great one to try because, I mean, honestly, with every chapter as I was reading, I felt so encouraged. I left this manga feeling happy, and I just thought it interesting because Hachi says to every customer, well, he doesn't say to every customer, but like his goal is that if just the customer can leave with a smile on their face, then he is totally content and totally happy because that is his goal of his cafe, to help these weary souls. I wouldn't say where he solves their problems, but I feel like he gives them hope. He gives them encouragement to get through those problems, like if at their job or if things are going on in their home. That is exactly what I felt I needed, and where it just speaks right in the midst of busy everyday life and chaos. Now, going into the second volume, I did feel the second volume was a little bit different. It still has those customers, but what's interesting about this volume specifically is you get Hachi's backstory. Now, this might sound horrible, but I don't know how to word it, but I did not care to get his backstory. And what I mean, because like I cared, but like what I mean is it was not an essential thing I needed to know of like, why is Hachi having this cafe? How is he one of the only, well, in this volume, we see two other beast-like people, or beast people, I think they call themselves. We see two other people. Like, I didn't need answers to why they're in this world or how this works, because I think online it says that this is like a cafe manga with a supernatural twist, and that's all I needed. I mean, honestly, I just was so encouraged by how Hachi interacts with these customers that is what I specifically wanted. But I will say, grab your tissues for his backstory, because it was very emotional, and I think that's the only reason I didn't love this volume as much as the first, because I was getting that encouragement that I desperately needed and didn't know I needed from this story. It is amazing though when you hear his backstory and why he does what he does. I'm thankful for Hachi. I'm thankful for the manga that they had the inspiration to write this story, because I definitely feel it's one that's needed and it's really underrated, which made me sad because I was like, we need this to have more hype and love. But I definitely think that if you're looking for the more humorous cat manga, this isn't going to be that right kind of story possibly for you, if that is your main thing that you're wanting. Now, one cool thing that was great about this story is, sorry, I was thinking, it's like there is another Beast character in volume 2 that you meet, and he is amazing. I loved him so much. He is the perfect balance to Hachi's personality, and I'm like, I wish we could get more volumes because I would love to see him and Hachi's interactions. And I would also say this one still had the soulful vibes of the first volume, but it is more humorous, and there was a lot more joy-inducing moments in this volume. I felt myself smiling a lot more for different reasons than just feeling encouraged and spoken to personally. When this character's involved, it's just a lot of happiness, and it was really great in that aspect. I really enjoyed it. What I was going to say before though is one great thing that I thought was so interesting about this manga. Hachi makes drinks, and he makes them based off of what he feels the customer needs, and this is one of the drinks that he makes. He makes a summer float, and whoever, this was the manga or somebody else who did the coloring of this, I want this. I want this in real life because it looks so delicious. But what was so cool is with the different drinks, Hachi tells why he made that drink for that person. One of the ones that I thought was the most interesting, I don't remember what drink he actually made. I just know that he used yogurt because there was a customer having an allergic reaction. Hachi was saying that you should have yogurt because yogurt helps, yes, it helps elevate the symptoms of allergic reaction. It was a special yogurt drink, and it looks just like this right here. So I thought that really interesting because I've never heard that. There was also a talk about, I think one of the ladies had mocha, and he was telling her how it helps with some of the anxiety, because I was like, I need to have that. Let me try and see if I can find it. Yes, he gave her a special cafe mocha, and he was saying that caffeine can help regulate anxiety, hopefully ease some of your tension. And I thought that really interesting as well. If you're interested in that kind of thing where you like learning as you're reading, especially about different drinks and even a few different foods, like one of my favorite one that involved food was the opening chapter of this one. Oh man, this was another one that made me tear up as well, because I'm not going to go into the backstory of why, but he tells them during a slump, it's hard to stay motivated and focused on improvement. You really have given it your all, haven't you? And that was another tear-worthy moment for me, because I have felt like after months and months of our family struggling with sickness since October, with January and February being really bad, I feel like I'm starting to hit a slump, and that it has been hard to stay motivated and even focus on improvement. And so when Hachi says you really have given it your all, I know he was talking to this fictional character, but again, I just felt like those words jumped off the page and just spoke to me, and it just gave me that encouragement. I know I keep using that word, but I really felt like this was an encouraging story and a boost, just like, hey, do not give up. Your weary soul is being spoken to in this volume or in this series, and it did. It uplifted my heart is exactly what my heart needed at exactly the right time. It was so enjoyable, such a moving and emotional read for me, because I'm like, I have not felt that way with a series in a long time. I've definitely read series where I felt like I was seen and I was being spoken to personally, but to have a whole, almost an entire series, even if it's 2 volumes, speak to me on the same level that this did was really beautiful, and highly recommend it because of that. So if your heart is feeling weary and you love cats and you need some soulful vibes, check out I Am a Cat Barista, because it is so wonderful. And I feel like, again, any person who reads it, that they will feel seen, and they'll also feel a relatability to at least one customer that's mentioned in this story, because like I said, they come from all walks of life, different ages, different backgrounds, so there's something that someone can take from this series and feel encouraged and hopefully have a serotonin boost as I did. I would love to hear from you friends though. Have you guys read this manga? What did you think? Did it encourage you? Are there other cat manga that you have read and enjoyed? Totally let me know down below. I would love to hear your recommendations, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. Bye!